Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lung Pamay, and in today's video we'll try and cover the remaining UI controls. We'll learn how to use custom image. We'll also learn how to create dynamic menu which you can update on runtime, learn how to use sub menu. We'll touch base on checkbox as well, Dialog Box Launcher, and also ToggleButton. As always, project files and source code will be made free for download and for use. The only request from you is to support my channel so I can keep sharing all these useful videos. So if you haven't, please do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon for upcoming videos. Let's carry forward the file that we used in our prior episode. I'm going to copy this in this episode folder. Let's take a quick look. So here is basically the edit box that we played around in our prior episode. So we're going to reuse some of the objects we created there. First of all, let's look at the custom image. This is a simple one. Many of you have put in a comment that you want to know how to use this. This is very simple. So I'm going to copy. Okay, so I'm going to open my editor first. I'm going to browse to this. Okay, so let's name this as 07. In order to use these images, so what I did was I downloaded some of the PNG files from this site. You must be familiar with this site by now. I'll leave the link in the video description if you're interested. So basically I downloaded these images. You can also use your like the image that you made by yourself. So here I've downloaded this, and here are the icons that I've downloaded from there. Okay, so let's say that we want to use this icon. What you can do here is right click on this XML, insert icon, and then from here you navigate and select the icons that you want. So let's say that we want to use this icon. Let's try this first. So here is the image that you just inserted. You can rename it as well. Let's call this graph, something like that. And this is the button here which has this image MSO, Microsoft Office. So you just need to like the syntax will just change the image, and then you can refer to this particular graph that you put here. Okay, I'm gonna copy this, F2, copy and paste. Oh, sorry, clipboard didn't work there, so I'm gonna type it there. Okay, so let's see if it worked. Saving and closing, reopening the file. So here is the icon, right? So it works like that. And now if you want to make, again, you know about this now, you can make this button size as well. For example, let's say that we want to have a separator here. Let's call this separator 2. Always remember that the ID has to be unique. Okay, so here's one separator, another separator here. Let's change the size. So we can say size. We'll call this large. This has to be in all lowercase. Okay, Control S, Control W, reopening the file. So now there's a big button. Okay, so that's how you'll use your custom image. You can also use it in your dropdown. Once we start looking at the custom not custom dynamic menu, we'll talk about that. Now let's talk about this dynamic menu for a second. I'm gonna go here, close this site for now, search this again. Like I'll leave the link in the video description. You can go here. Once you click on this element, this page will open up, and this is a good site for reference. So I'm gonna open this. So this is an example of dynamic menu, and here is a sample code here. Okay, so let's give it a try. I'm gonna copy this line code. Let's close this, save, close, and then I'm gonna open up this file again. Now let's add another block. We can also add a group Let's add a new group. Oh, sorry, this has to go outside like this. Menu, and let's call this group 2. Okay, so I'll get a callback. It has just get the content, and the rest are from the prior video, so I'm gonna leave that, save it, and close it. So I didn't do anything special there. I just added a group, and then I added the dynamic menu here. Okay, so when I click here, it doesn't have anything, so we'll have to add a micro for that part. I'm going to insert a new menu, and then this is the callback I copied from the custom UI. Okay, so this is where you're going to specify what you want to return when the user click on this menu. Okay, so let's go and copy the sample here. So this is what you can put in the reference. So I'm gonna comment this out. I'm gonna change all these double quotes to single quote like this. Okay, and this is on the selected text like this. And now I'm gonna say XML. So first let's declare that dim XML as string. So instead of what we did in our prior videos was like if I navigate to our prior video where we had a drop down, combo box and drop down, right? So here we specify the items, for example, hard-coded the values that needs to come in the drop down, but in this scenario we can construct this XML on runtime here itself. Okay, so that's what we're trying to do. So I'll say XML is equal to this, and then XML is equal to XML, and then we're just gonna concatenate. I'm just gonna remove the comment in just a moment. Now I'm gonna put double quote on each of this. Now I'm gonna remove the tag from this. Okay, so these are 3 buttons like this, and now we can say return this XML. So we're telling when this event gets triggered, when the user clicks on it, this XML will return the drop down. Okay, so let's try it now. So button 1, 2, and 3. Okay, so if we quickly look at this again, this is nothing new now. We have already learned all this button, and then there is button ID and then the label. So if we want to put an image, for example, let's say we want to use the same image which was graph, right? So you can just specify this as well. Now I'll just get rid of this double quote and use single quote. So you can have this in your sheet as well. If you have so many controls, you can also construct it from the worksheet and load them, you know, like just the final XML. So for this we have to reload. Okay, so this is the same icon as we use. Similarly, you can also use image MSO that we've tried in our video like this, and this could be, you know, like info, something like that. That's my bad. This has to be, you know, like this is case sensitive, so I'm gonna reopen the file. So here is the image MSO. Okay, Again, a quick recap on this is that this can be dynamically constructed, but this is not going to refresh every time the user clicks on the drop down. So we'll take a step further to construct that part. And again, just remember that you can add additional attributes like on action, the name of the code here, the name of the code goes here, for example. So you can add additional attributes like the screen tip and everything. Okay, so let's go to document again. Now I want to show you this invalidate content on dropdown. So this is something we want to use in our next. So every time the user clicks on the dropdown, it will reconstruct or recheck. So you can dynamically construct your XML for that. I think that should be it. Okay, so invalidate on dropdown. Let's reopen up this file. I'm gonna replicate the same dynamic menu and change the ID. I'll just call this too, okay? And I'll add this attribute. Let's call this, let's assign a true property to this. So invalidate content true, this has to be this. Now again, if you want to insert an image, I think we should be able to do this. For example, let's insert one more icon from our download. Let's say something like this. I'll rename this to idea, and I'll assign image. And you can specify the size of this button as well. Let's make it large. Okay. Just before that, let me create the callback for this. I'm gonna reopen it now. So here is the one that we added. This was our prior one, dynamic menu 2, and then this one. Okay, so I'm gonna go here, copy and paste that callback. Let me assign this just for now. So here the return is our XML. Okay, so this is assigned. So for example, let's say that we add a new one again. Let's call this button 4. So every time this will get refreshed. Okay, let's say that we have a list here, for example, like apple, mango, banana, something like that. Okay, and now let's say that we want to construct dynamically based on the list here. We can assign, for example, let's call this something like this, and then string, and then we'll just get a last row. This will be based on a column. Okay, so a, and then rows.count. This will be our last row. Now let's construct this XML. Let's quickly construct one XML by looping through. And then this is going to be next I. Now this one will go up here, and then our XML menu will go down here. This will return as this. Now instead of this, so let's differentiate this first, and instead of button 1, we're gonna use let's use this I, and then for the label as well, like this string, and then our n XML is gonna be XML and then XML here. So this first and then second, and then we'll concatenate this. Okay, let's see if this works. I'm gonna comment this out. Sorry, I went to the wrong place. Coming down here. Okay, so I'm gonna point it to the new XML0 we just constructed. Not quite yet. I think we have to specify differently. So this button. So we'll try to maintain the same syntax, button and then I like this. Okay. Now instead of button here, we can directly reference to this. Cells I and then first column dot value. It should be working now. Okay, so this menu is dynamically being pulled from here. So let's say we have another fruit, maybe grapes. Yeah, and let's say we have strawberry. Yeah, something like that. Okay, so now we're gonna take a step further and then add, like sub menus, and then we'll like explore more controls. So going back to our topic here, we can add menu, and then first we'll add the menu separator. Open this in new tab. Let's see how this looks like. Okay, so menu separator is basically this. Now if I want to add the menu separator in between, this part is going to be a bit tricky. We'll have to put an if condition, for example. For the sake of to make it simplified, first let's add it here. Okay, like this. So I'm gonna change this again to single quote and then make this to double quote, and then like this. Okay, now let's see. We'll have to reopen this file. Okay, button 2 is duplicated. Sorry, that's my bad. So let's make the ID unique and let's call this button X. Okay, let's restart the file. Okay, so this is the separator that we just added. As you can see, this is above button 3. Okay, that's a separator. Now let me also quickly demonstrate how to add a sub menu. Okay, so one quick example of the like the menu that I created was looking like this. So here I have a sample choose reports, and then this report by font, by client, and then other reports, and then there are settings, about, and help, and then once you click here it just exits. Just toggling back what we did here. Okay, we're just gonna stick back to this XML for now, so that like you can grab the logic. So if I go back here, now this is our button, right? And one thing is, for example, here for the separator, when you're adding a menu separator, you can also do in this fashion. You can even add the title, for example, title, and then you can say select the report or something like that. I'll just give you come here, so you can also put a title for that separator. In this scenario it was just a line here, okay, but you can also do this. Now let's say that we want to have like a sub menu here. So let me quickly demonstrate that. Now let's quickly go back here. So again, this is from the menu separator document. I'm just gonna grab this, okay? Maybe I'll just grab this. The idea here is just to use this menu, okay? Now down here, let's say that we want to add another opener like this. And then from what we copied, let's replace double quote with single quote like this. So basically here is where our menu is starting, a new menu, okay, like this. Let's call this menu X, and let's call this daily reports, and we'll just use the same syntax instead of. Let's make sure these are unique. So 2x1, just making this unique, okay? Just you can add anything. So let's say this x1, x2, x3. These namings that might not make sense to you now, but just to give an idea. Now let's go back and see. So here is the sub menu, okay? And this smiley icon, you can definitely change that. And then let's say once you're able to replicate this like this, you can, you know, like keep on inserting these menus like this. You can just copy that block, and then you can just make sure the ID is unique, and then IJK. Let me just do something like this. So here, okay, let's call this monthly report, something like that. Yeah, so wherever you want this menu to be, you insert it between those lines. Just ensure that the IDs are unique so that there is no error. Okay, more buttons. Now let me insert one more menu inside of the sub menu, okay, like this. So inside of the sub menu there is a menu again. So this is how you can construct your XML. Now that you got the idea, you can easily construct this for yourself. Again, this I'm gonna add you know, a link so that you can download this. But again, the best thing will be just to copy, you know, like this you know, a sample code which is presented here, and then you can play around further by yourself. Okay, so now we are done with menu, separator, dynamic menu, and then the custom image. So let's have a quick look at this Dialog Box Launcher. So the example of this Dialog Box Launcher is, for example, like you can specify if there are more options that the user can go to. For example, it'll look like this. So it's, you know, like once you click on this, then it will give you more, you know, like options for that particular group. Okay, so that's example of a Dialog Launcher. Another one is here. Okay, so if you want to add something like that for yourself, you can use this option. So here's an example. Let me copy this, and let's add this here. Okay, or we can even have this included in our menu here like this. Okay, now we can also put an action on action. Let's say that dialog micro or something like that. Now let me get the callback. Going here, and then you can see this has been added. Once you click here, you can like write a code to launch additional options, maybe like a form or something else for your users. Okay, now let's quickly add the toggle button as well. I'm gonna copy this sample code again from the same document. Maybe this time I'll add it to the new group. So I'm going to get the group tag. Let's call this ideas group 3, and let's call this other controls. So here's our toggle button with the ID this, and then the label is this. We can also add a quick action is fine, press, get pressed. So whenever you get pressed, this code is gonna run. And let's add this as well. On action, click or something like this. Okay, I'm gonna get a callback for this. Now if I'm not mistaken, if you return this here as true, it's gonna open up as being toggled to true. Yeah, and then if you set this to false, this will load up as false. And then when it is clicked, you can get the press behavior. So if it is right now this is true, so it's supposed to return as true, but when it clicks it's gonna be false. So true. Okay, so that's what, so based on this toggle, like behavior, if it is true you can do certain thing, if it is false then you can run certain code. Okay, so for example, if this, then you can run some code here, else you can run another code here. Okay, something like that. Now let's try to put this to false, and then when this loads up, this is supposed to be untoggled. Okay, so this is not toggled. Now the last thing, I think this button group and all, they're really simple. Let's do the checkbox. Okay, and then we'll be done for this video. So going back to the material, checkbox. So again, the syntax is really simple. Let's add this to the box here, and let's use this same callback. Okay, I will call this checkbox click, and then checkbox press. Now I'm gonna go here, copy these callbacks, Control S, Control W, reopening this file. Now let me put this on top. Okay, so here is the toggle button, this is checkbox. Okay, so now this is how you can use a checkbox. Now if you want, to be able to run your code to update this checkbox or uncheck it when it's open, or later on, you can run your own program to change the behavior of this, the properties. So in order to do that, we can quickly use the code that we wrote yesterday. So here we'll replicate this. Okay, we'll replicate this block. So let's call this as the checkbox as boolean. I'm just gonna replicate this block. We'll set up the object here. Okay, so let's call this checkbox 1, like this, and this is gonna be boolean. This is fine. And now this can come here. Okay, so now we're gonna go back here and we can use this like we did it for the edit box for this, for example. So we can let's copy this to where our checkbox returns are there and paste it here. Now first we'll have to update our code. If this dot id is equal to this, then this is where we mentioned this workbook dot Excel checkbox 1. Okay, now we have linked the element to the code, and here we can just maybe message box what was pressed. Okay, now let me quickly restart this file. Okay, so now we should be able to change the value of this checkbox. So it's true, false. Okay, so that's how you can do it. And not sure why this code did not run. Should give us, oh yeah, there it is. Okay, so that ran only when you actually click it, not when the value got changed. Okay guys, that's all for now. If you found the video informative, please leave a like and subscribe to my channel for upcoming videos. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day. Bye bye.